So, we are live now with BionD&D. I didn't prepare a summary for last time, and I don't think I'm going to be good at improving one of the silly ones, so I'm just going to try and run through it normally.
It's
Let's
okay,
see.
I can do the summary for this session. I have a cool eyeball.
He does have a cool
No,
We're
eyeball.
done.
no, you don't.
That was
You
a
don't have
pretty
a
big
cool
part of
eyeball.
the conflict from last session. That is very true. Some people don't like Jeff Eyeball. Other people like Jeff Eyeball.
Mainly
Um,
Jeff.
Other
Only Jeff.
person.
well,
Other person.
you don't know
likes
about
Jeff
you don't know
Eyeball.
about that. Maybe other people like it too, just not in the party.
Jeff went
They don't
absolutely
matter.
fucking feral.
The eyeball likes Jeff's eyeball.
The eyeball doesn't matter.
The
don't
eyeball.
care.
Ooh, the eyeball does not like that you've said that.
The eyeball isn't allowed an opinion. You need two eyes at least to have an opinion.
Are you attempting to take the eyeball's agency away?
Yep.
Yes.
Jeff,
Nick, you here?
now.
What?
Nothing.
Kumquats.
Oh,
Oh no, that's a
alright.
sleeper word!
Oh, right, that plan, right. Sorry. I cast Disintegrate on myself.
Woo!
Well, I guess that's.
Bet they didn't see that coming.
No. No.
Alright, so what actually happened last session? Well, after you saw your way off from the little girl, you continued on your path northwards, eventually reaching the thick of the Broodwick Wood and traveling on towards the foot of the Ulvengard Range and then further through it into the pass that you had been shown by the mapmaker back in Limna, which I incorrectly called Apatro about 4 times last session, so I'm really sorry about that.
Don't worry, I knew what you meant, Matt.
I'm really glad you did, because there was a good chance that you wouldn't, because y'all haven't fucking been there. What am I talking about? But, so yeah. You took that hint from the mapmaker and made your way through a relatively easy pass. Still difficult as it's mountainous terrain and it's snowy as hell, so it's not going to be easy to pass, but you trudged your way through nonetheless, using clanky and heat metal creatively for warmth at times, which unfortunately led a few creatures to being able to track you a little bit easier, and you found yourselves in the mountain pass beset by a young adult Remmerhaz, which you handily slew, but not before taking some serious wounds yourselves. And being somewhat injured, Jeff to the point of unconsciousness by its, or near unconsciousness, right? Yeah, you went till you had like 2 HP left.
Yeah, I was like, I got knocked out because
Yeah.
Kayana hit me with the stick while
Right.
I was enjoying my lunch.
Yes. So the boiling blood brought Jeff near to unconsciousness, and then as he took the Remmerhaz's life, the eyeball coerced him into feasting upon the flesh of his fallen foe. Say that 5 times fast. And Kayana had none of that, and summoned up her shillelagh and just whacked him right upside the noggin, taking out his last couple of HP and knocking him unconscious. When he came to, he kind of remembered doing it, but was like, what the fuck was I thinking? As were the rest of you. So that was interesting.
Autumn.
One thing that I should just kind of point of order before we really begin the session. War Talk, actually, is Nick even on right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hi. Glad to see you. Or hear you as your camera isn't on, you little bitch.
Oh.
Get in here.
Get over here. Wartalk and Kayana both had a little bit of time to work on their spells while y'all were traveling. So I think the total of the journey was about 3 weeks. So I think y'all had made 1 check, so go ahead and make 2 more each.
Oh shit, okay. That is...
And anyone else who might have been working on a spell, I don't know.
I've been reading a book. Does that help?
It does do things for you. We will resolve those at some point soon.
Okay.
Probably just after this. 26, Kayana?
Actually, both of them ended up being 26s. I rolled natural 19s on both.
Nice. Okay, I believe those are both
Hey.
passes. How many weeks did you have left on this?
I don't remember, Matt.
Am I supposed to, do you want me to be tracking this for you? Because I thought we were doing you're tracking your spells, but I can do it if you want.
I don't think either of us were.
Ah, shit. Quick, roll a d20, and that's
So
how many you
I
got.
wasn't because I was presuming you were.
Okay, alright, hold
But
up.
if you were not, then we should work this out now.
I remember putting at least one of them down. Okay.
Let's see here.
There were 2 checks beforehand. One was a pass, one didn't really get me anything new. I don't remember the one I got on the road previously.
I believe that was also... Wait. That would have been one of the two. No. No, it would have been one of the two because you finished up a pair of spells while you were in Limna and started a third, but you did not finish the third. So then the first
Correct.
one would have been from while you were in Limna, the few days you had, and then the second one would have been on the road.
Okay, then the second one would have been a failure.
Okay. But I don't think you failed by 5 or more. Because
No.
I think that's when you were saying it didn't really get me anything new. I think I remember that wasn't a pass, but it didn't get you any drawbacks.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So you accumulate 1 failure point, but that's the only penalty.
Okay.
Alright. And then what was the spell you were working on?
Reincarnation.
Right. Yes, because that's going to be fun when you figure it out. Okay, cool.
I define fun, Matt.
I control the die.
Actually, I think it's going to be fun. I would legitimately say fun. Like,
Okay.
by most definitions. I think that's going to be kind of cool. Spell lists. What level is reincarnation?
5.
5th. Okay. So, yeah. So your DC is 20 on this, so you are passing those checks with your 26. Easy peasy. In fact, you pass by 5 or more, so go ahead and roll, for your first one, roll a d4.
4.
4. Okay. Actually, this may not help you too much, but the next check you make, so the second one you just rolled, has advantage. So you can roll it again and see if you get a nat 20.
Nope, I got it too.
Okay, so we'll take your other one, but that also failed or succeeds by more than 5. So go ahead and roll another d4.
That is a 1.
A 1. Okay. So this is actually your last week, as it is spell level over 2 weeks, and it's rounded up. So this would be your 3rd week of work on it. So at the end, like as you're kind of finishing this out, and so we'll make this part of this session. You'll basically finish it this evening, more or less.
Okay.
You have spent no gold on materials for this week of research.
Sweet.
So the normal, whatever it is, 10 times spell level gold. Yeah. So the normal 50 gold you would have to mark off. You don't.
Okay.
Do mark off 50 for the other week, though.
Okay. Can do.
All right. And Wartalk, what was the spell you were working on?
Black Tentacles.
Yes, that's right. Which was normally a named spell, but does not exist here. Is that right?
Yeah.
Wartalk's many tentacles.
What spell level is that? 4th?
Wartalk's black tentacles.
Yeah, 4th. Okay.
Big Black Tentacles.
So
Wait,
you
what's
will also
that?
finish this one as long as you don't, fuck up. So go ahead and roll your 2 checks.
That's what I did
Actually,
best.
just roll
I
the
got-
first one because you could get another. You could start. Another
I got a
spell.
9 on the first one.
Okay, so that is a failure, and you do accumulate 1 failure point.
Yay.
Autumn.
And actually, a 9 total on a 4th level spell is going to be a failure of more than 5. So please roll a d4 for me.
4.
Okay. as you are struggling with the spell, you're kind of out of your element. Snow is not liquid water, and yeah, I mean, you can make do sometimes, but you haven't seen a body of fresh water in a little while, and it's kind of starting to wear on your psyche, and it's just hard going. You kind of hit a snag as you're working on this spell, and you can't seem to tap into the well of power that you usually can. The following week, the next check is going to have to be made with disadvantage.
Cool.
So you do not succeed in completing the spell that week, so go ahead and roll another check.
17.
Okay, is that with disadvantage?
Yeah.
Okay, that unfortunately does not succeed, but it doesn't fail by 5 or more. So you have 2 failure points on this spell, but you're still... I'm stupid. I forgot my own rules. So you are actually still finishing it. It's just that when you finish it, you have those failure points to subtract from your final one.
Gotcha.
So you will actually finish it that week. So we'll... technically, you get another week to do another one, but we'll resolve it at the same time we kind of resolve Kayana's tonight. Okay? Alrighty. And Jeff, you were reading your combat manual, correct?
Yeah.
Alright. Go ahead and make an intelligence check for me.
10.
Okay. You don't really make any significant progress as you're reading through it. It's kind
I
of...
tried.
You're distracted a little bit by your cool new eye.
Yeah, that's true.
The eye tries to read too, and it's disorienting.
Yeah, that might
Can
be
I
what
work
happens.
out?
It's like, yes, you can work out.
Hell yeah, that's what I do.
All right.
I
Every
just do-
evening, Ilya
I
just
do
lifts.
curls.
What do you curl?
Kayana. I just lift.
Holy
I just lift
fuck!
Kayana.
Okay, wait. Okay, this point of
I
order.
don't know, man.
What does Kayana weigh?
Wait, let's go into my notes. Just description. She's like 102.
Bitch, I can't curl 100 pounds.
Can I just work out using Kayana?
Curling that? That's fucking insane.
Alright, does anyone weigh any lighter?
I mean, I'm not saying Ilya can't. I'm just saying
Let me
I
just bench
can't.
press Warthog.
Okay, yeah, bench pressing you can do. I'm sure about that.
You can breast.
You got 2 arms with the bench, and you're pushing with your delts, and that's fine.
Let me bench press small children.
All right.
Damn.
You can definitely bench press your party mates.
Hell yeah.
Maybe not Jeff with armor, but you can bench press pretty much anybody else.
I don't want fucking anything to do with Jeff right now.
Fair enough. You don't even attempt to bench press Jeff in armor, but you bench press everybody else on a
Hell
bench
yeah.
made of a tree that you tear down with your bare hands.
Oh
Fuck
my
yeah.
god.
Or maybe Kayana's bare hands. Did she partial to polymorph and just... Sure.
I mean, she can wild shape into a bear.
Right. I just was wondering if you could do it like part way and just get the hands and just rip a
I'll
tree
just
down.
bench press a bear.
I mean, we could
That's a good
do
question.
that.
Does your weight change? It does, doesn't it?
It would
Your physical
absolutely,
stats
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So you'd be like bench pressing small child and then suddenly just thump. I need a
Yeah.
spot. Spot me, please, everybody.
She just keeps shape changing to like the next like weight class up.
Yeah.
So like I'll start out with something like I don't know, a turtle.
Yeah.
Turtles are relatively light but solid. So
And then eventually you work your way up to a tortoise, which are like fucking ridiculously heavy.
bruh, I could frisbee you. If we need to get you somewhere real quick.
If I need to go somewhere real quick, I can just teleport. You don't need to do that.
Okay, but
Fair point.
it'll be fun.
I'll keep that in mind in a pinch.
Okay, is anybody else working on anything that I have forgotten to, what's the word? Resolve, while you've been traveling?
Shadra does Shadra things.
Alright, Shadra sneaks around and which isn't really a Shadra thing. Shadra cuts everybody's hair.
I don't have hair.
Cool.
She cuts it anyway.
She
What?
trimmed.
She
she
trims your
trims-
eyelash.
What?
Oh,
My eyelash.
Oh, you have eyelash now? Gross.
I was gonna say she trims your horns and your scales and like buffs them, but like that's
You're making
100
it sound
times
like
more gross.
You're making it sound like Jeff needs to go to a car wash.
He does. He went
He does.
absolutely
When's the
feral
last
on
time Jeff
Centipede.
waxed his scales?
Basic hygiene, dude.
Yeah, like, do you even have a tin of paraffin wax? Come on.
No.
At least some, like, rendered fat or tallow. Please?
Jeff,
No.
treat yourself.
God.
Hey, I'm
All
a
right.
farm boy. I couldn't afford fancy hair
Treat
skincare
yourself.
products.
You just need to get that pig lard and melt it down.
Mm.
Wax yourself up. It's not that hard and expensive, dude.
All right, but so, you all finished the battle with the Remorhaz and saw Jeff's ferocity show itself, and continued walking as some of your compatriots were working on spells, others were swishing swords around and trying to make magic come out of them. The fuck?
Wasn't me.
Someone honked the car outside. Sorry.
That was, like, impressively clear. It sounded like it was, like, in your apartment.
Yeah,
I hope not.
Are you
That
inside an
happens.
engine?
No.
That happens all the time. If you listen closely, you can also hear the children screaming too.
Nice.
Pardon?
They've stopped screaming since they closed the pool, but you know.
That was much less depressing than I was hoping.
The children screaming. Oh yeah, them outside? No, the ones in the walls.
Okay, so continuing on, you eventually make your way out of the Ulvengard range to the northern side of that mountainous region, finding yourselves in the Mountain Duchy, in the northern reaches of Erevar. Continuing along for about a week, your journey is mostly unassailed other than by the constant torrent of blizzarding snow as you travel deeper and deeper into the heart of Snowscour. Finally, on the horizon, you see what looks to be almost like a swirling orb of wind ahead of you. And
Yes,
you,
we did get there.
Yes. You approach closer and closer, and you see in front of this orb what looks like shining walls of brass. And upon reaching closer to them, you discover it's a maze of sorts that is made of these sort of clockwork brass walls. Jeff enters first, tied to a rope that Kyanna is holding on behind him for security, and he makes his way towards into the maze until the rope goes taut, and then the rest of the party begins to follow. It is not long, however, until the maze begins to show its true colors. It shifts and changes as you all are traveling throughout it, and walls begin to sprout from where there were not walls before. And these walls separate the group of you, so that no two of you are together, save for Wartalk and Clanky, who are just apparently literally inseparable. And as Kyanna curses the failure of her plot to keep the group of you together via tied ropes around each of your waists, the ground before you begins to roil and turn. Oh, shucks!
Oh, gee whiz.
Egads! The ground before you begins to turn and roil, and you see emerging from the soil stone humans rising from the ground. But as they rise, they seem to be even larger than human. They are of Goliath size. They just kind of cock their heads and smile at you. I'd like all of you to roll initiative.
I don't like
Fighting.
that.
Damn it!
Why
I
do you
guess I'll
keep
roll for
trying to kill
Shadra if
us?
she's not here.
Yes, please, if you wouldn't mind running Shadra in the meanwhile, Jeff, that would
I
be
got this.
amazing. Well, I
Like,
guess
pull up her stat sheet.
Ethan will be running Shadra, not Jeff.
No, Jeff has his pen and paper ready.
Jeff uses his third eye to control Shadra.
Oh, I very
see
much
all.
do not like that.
Looks through the wall directly at where Shadra would be standing.
Oh,
Attack him now.
Kill them. Spill their blood.
This feels like cheating the maze somehow. Guess we gotta get rid of
Kill
that third
him
eye
now.
after all.
Kill them. Kill all of them.
Do it.
Kill him.
do it.
Do it.
Do it.
What do we got?
This is what you want.
Do it.
Hey, Palpatine, what should we do with all this day-old meat?
Stew it. I was at my friend's bar mitzvah and Palpatine was there. I was like, hey Palpatine, do you mind if we say the Lord's Prayer? Do it.
Palpatine comes home crying from a date. His roommate's just like, how'd it go, buddy? And he's just like, blew it.
Oh, Palpatine, my pencil just snapped in half. Glue it. All right, so
Oh wow, Palpatine, how'd you make this picture? Drew it.
Palpatine's getting mugged. Don't do it.
Hey Palpatine, how did you get your package so fast? Flew it. Alright, I think that's enough.
Yes,
That's
I would
never
agree.
enough.
So, 20 or above.
Do it.
Shader got 22.
Okie doke. Shadry. 15 to 20.
18.
Jeff got 16.
16 for Wartalk.
16. Wait, Jeff, you said 16 as well?
Yeah, although I think Wartalk has a better dex mod, so he beat me.
When it's PCs, I just kind of let you guys decide. 10 to 5.
Okay.
Or 10 to 15, rather. Ooh, boy.
Crickets.
5 to 10.
I got 9.
Okay. How'd Clanky do?
One.
Oh, buddy.
Oof.
Senior
Oh.
Clanks!
You could have
Let me,
gotten a 0, so I mean,
That's true. Better than nothing.
alright.
Let me
Oh,
actually-
Clanky.
Because I currently can't see you guys. So let me do that so I can
That's
see you
alright.
guys.
Is Autumn biting you?
Nom nom
No,
nom.
her claws are just like really sharp, and I'm wearing shorts.
Ah, lovely.
Oh.
So she'll take a
Oh.
step, and it's like, I love you, but
Ouch.
All
Big
right.
oof.
please wait a second.
So, each of you find yourselves in a room, room, quote unquote. A small
maze.
enclosed corridor, about 15 feet long and just wide enough that you can kind of maneuver. Maybe 7.5 feet, not quite 2 full spaces. And you are at opposite ends from the stone being in front of you. So, Shadra is up first. What would she like to do?
So she's trapped in a room alone with this thing.
Yup.
Is there anywhere to hide in this tiny room?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
Fuck!
cool. That's good. How big is the room?
About 15 feet long, 7.5 feet wide.
Okay, that's not great. Okay, so we're gonna. She's
Pole
gonna.
vault over him.
No.
She's
Don't go
gonna.
Yeah, Wartalk
good.
learned, don't go up.
Oh no! I don't mean over top the wall. I mean pole vault over the dude. Do some like Assassin's Creed shit.
That's fair.
I think Shadra's just gonna draw double short swords and attack the thingy.
Alrighty.
So here we go. First attack. That's a lot. It's like a 25 to hit.
This is with the Elverite sword, right?
Yeah. She has She has the Alvarite sword and then a normal silvered short sword.
Okay.
This is with the Alvarite sword.
And remind me exactly what the things it hits harder are.
Fiends and evil fae.
Okay, it is neither of those things. Alright.
Okay.
What was the to hit?
25.
Hits.
Okay, that's don't get sneak attack, so
Narp.
we're gonna roll a babby d6. That's 9 damage.
Okay, he looks significantly hurt as the blade carves one of its stone arms off.
All right, coming in with the second attack, using the old bonus action. That's a 23 to hit.
23, that hits as well.
Okay, this does 3 damage.
3, okay. He's bloodied in 4E terms.
Okay, that is Shade's turn.
Alrighty, let's see. Who's that? Kayana, you're up next.
Can I... Is there like a reasonable stretch of corridor beyond this thing, or is
It's
like
completely
there a wall?
enclosed on all 4 sides.
I don't like that. I don't.
That's the point.
Fair. Okay. All right. Jesus. Shit. Okay.
I'm doing my job right.
Under her breath.
Huh? What?
Diana's just mumbling this under her breath.
You hear some disembodied voice in Supernal. Who's this Jesus fella?
That's how you know it's not in character. So it's just standing and smiling? Is it doing anything else that's threatening?
Not at present.
Not at
It's not like a nice smile though.
Naturally, yeah. Okay, I think what I will do... I wish. You know what? We're gonna attempt to shillelagh.
Okay.
Okay. So that is a 14 plus 7, 21 to hit.
That hits. Roll damage.
Cool. That's not great. That is 6 damage.
What kind of damage is it?
It's like
It is-
magical bludgeoning.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's-
bludgeoning though?
Yeah.
It's bludgeoning, but it's considered magical.
Okay, I just need to know bludgeoning. It looks like you're going in for a good solid hit. As the shillelagh makes contact, it just blasts through a big section of this creature's torso. You said it was how much?
It was 6.
It deals 12. They are
Oh,
vulnerable
weak
to
to
bludgeoning.
bludgeoning.
And he is looking rough.
Kayana said, "Go fuck yourself."
Somehow this is making her feel just a touch more empowered. Like, oh shit, I can do that.
Excellent.
And before it doesn't last, we're gonna die.
We're all gonna die down here.
All right.
Anyway, that's her turn.
Cool. Wartalk and Jeff, y'all decide between yourselves.
Wanna go?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm gonna attack the thingy with Atarax.
Okay.
That is a 15 to hit.
That does not make impact.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh.
So you strike out with Atarax, and the creature deftly raises one arm, like faster than you would expect a creature made of stone to be able to, and it kind of deflects the blade across to the side.
Well, I hit him again.
You try to.
I crit him. I rolled natural 20.
Okay, that does it.
Cool. Haha. All right.
He has the skill that grants no criticals against him, so like.
Okay, he takes 21 damage.
Okay. He collapses into dust.
Nerd.
Jeff, as the dust settles, there is something sitting in the pile of rubble. It is a skull made of black glass.
Ugh, don't like that.
That's weird.
All right, Wartalk.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say hello to it and see if it seems to react.
Hell yeah.
What language are you using? Just common?
Common.
Okay.
figure it's my best bet.
Release me.
All right, I'll just blast.
Okay.
You got it, bud.
I'll
I'll-
kill you just like I'll kill Jeff. No problem.
Whoa.
Ayo.
I mean, don't worry, Jeff. You didn't hear that.
All right, roll to hit.
It's 21.
Hits. Roll damage.
That one. That's 4.
Okay. As you acquiesce to its request, you send a crackling bolt of purple eldritch energy sizzling through the air, which smashes into its chest. It kind of looks down at the gaping wound, looks up, and says, "Faster."
Harder, Daddy.
Stop.
22.
I
I was
almost
gonna
said
say
it.
that-
Yeah, I almost did the same.
This is
Same.
all of you, heathens. Heretic.
All right, yeah, that hits.
10.
So it slams in like almost the exact same spot, and the hole deepens and widens, and he looks down and goes, "Better."
Anytime.
But he's still there. So we're going to go to Ilya.
Yay! I'm gonna attack him with my axe.
Do it.
Do it.
Skewer it.
Got a 1.
Oof. Roll to confirm. Well, roll again.
$12.
Okay, you're fine. All right. Miss. The blade of your axe just embeds itself into the soil whence it just came, and it kind of looks up at you and tilts its head a little further.
Alright, I'm gonna attack again then.
Okay.
Pray for me. Oh, dirty 20.
Nice. All right, that hits.
Yay! That'll do!
You did it.
Yay! Me!
Aye.
Oh, hey! 12!
Nice. Okay. So you slash through its body, and you kind of sever the leg, like one of the legs at mid thigh, and it kind of is now like hopping about on one leg. It kind of begins to raise its claws up at you, and then we cut to Mr. Clanky. Ooh.
Shit!
Sounds like we got a follow. Thank you, whoever that was. FunQuad1991, thank you very much for the follow. Glad to have you with us.
Hi, JJ.
Oh, is that JJ?
Yeah.
Shit, hi JJ. Hope you're doing well, man. It's been a while. All right.
Hope you're doing horrible. Clanky punches it.
All right. Clanky at least tries to.
17.
That just hits.
Oh, God. All right. These things want to die. How are they living so long?
Well, they're stone.
I ask myself. No, that's my
It's 2d6.
It's 2d6. That's right. Plus 4.
And I believe it's bludgeoning, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So that's 10 bludgeoning, which I assume is doubled.
Splat. Or more like crunch. And as Clanky raises his fists from the dust pile that was the stone curse that you all had both been fighting, you see a black obsidian skull in the rubble. All right, and whoop, Shadra.
Oh, these. Okay. Do these guys not move?
Oh, wait, you are correct. I forgot. I didn't actually roll an initiative for them because they just go after all of you. So yes, they do go.
Don't worry. We're just here to kill them. They don't need to fight back.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They won't get to go to Valhalla if they don't die fighting.
Well, screw
fair.
Valhalla then.
They're Norse!
Oh, I have no... Oh, this creature's full stat block is not available. Alright, I'm gonna make it up. They have a... I could tell what their plus to hit is, but they get 7d12 damage. Okay.
That's fair.
So,
That's fair.
so that would be... Let's say plus... What would that be? So they're not... Damn, it's hard for me to figure out what this thing's proficiency would be. Let's just call it 2. All right. Does a 20 hit Shadra?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Actually, it's gonna need a D8. Okay, she takes 5 points of slashing damage as the creature's claws kind of grab into the leather and grip and begin to tear at the flesh where they can find purchase.
Okay, she's gonna use her reaction to uncanny dodge it to have the damage.
Okay. It deals whatever
2.
half of 5 is, so yeah, 2. It barely scratches her. All right.
To it.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ethan, are you actually my brother?
What?
He very well may be.
So
Welcome to the family.
Kayana,
Yay!
the stone cursed in front of you, Kayana shambles forward, closing the 10-foot distance between the two of you, and lashes out on its own.
I would have closed the distance when I went into melee.
Oh yeah, you shillelied him. Sorry. So it just reaches out and slashes you.
It went in even closer.
Huh, they're rolling well. 21.
Now they're slow dancing.
No.
Yeah, that hits.
All right, that is 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
As you feel the claw, you feel a profound sadness grip you, just as the slashing damage kind of wells blood in the wounds. You feel the pain and sadness all at once. Let's see.
Oh, you are going to make her cry.
Jeff's and Wartalk's are both dead, so that's
Correct.
another thing. Ilya, yours is not dead. It is going to come up and attack you.
Hit me, daddy.
That's a 23.
Okay, damn it.
They've
Thought it
rolled a
would've thrown
15,
you off your
16, and
rhythm.
18. That is 6 points of slashing damage.
Ah.
And as it kind of finds a chink in the armor and pulls, you can feel the claws ripping into you, and you too feel a profound sadness just flowing into your body from this creature.
Just like my normal depression. Yay!
Yay!
Oh.
All right. It's going to be one of those nights. I didn't get enough whiskey.
Too real?
Go get more.
I might have to.
Too
Also-
real. Cheers.
Indeed. Okay. So, combat order basically doesn't matter anymore because I think Ilya, yours is the only one that's still alive, right? Well, and
Shayla's
Kayana's.
still alive.
Uh,
Just Kayana's.
oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. For some reason, when you said the uncanny dodge thing, I was like, oh, she's gonna kill it, and then I just registered that in my head. Okay, so Shadra.
Shaders does the stabby stab with
Okay.
the short sword. That's a bazillion. It's like 17 to hit.
That is just enough. That's not a bazillion.
Wow, a bazillion AC. This does 7 damage.
Okay, I believe she had done, what, 9 to it last turn?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is just hanging on.
Alright, coming in with the backhand. That was better. That was like a 19 to hit.
Okay.
And that one does 3 damage.
She swipes forward with her second short sword and severs the head of the creature from its body. The head settles into dust elsewhere, and the body collapses. And in the rubble from the body, you see the obsidian skull.
Gotcha.
All
I think
right.
that's her turn.
Yes, indeed. I believe Kayana was before Ilya. So Kayana, you're up.
It's time to keep whacking that dude over the head with a stick.
Fran.
Okay, that's not great. 7 plus 7 is 14?
Misses.
Fuck.
Oof.
Okay, alright.
He ducks out of the way and looks back at you expectantly.
He said get
What do
good
you
scrub.
want from me? Don't
Do you actually say that?
Yeah.
Release.
Oh no. Anyway, that's the end of my turn.
All right. So, Ilya.
Hi. I'm gonna try and hit it.
Okay.
First one's a 10.
Nah.
Okay,
You swipe
cool.
your axe up from the ground where it embedded itself, and it just kind of slings up into the air, missing its target.
Cool.
Nick, I did that to
More.
him once with his full name just to fuck with him. He got so fucking spooked.
Good.
So I got a 10 again.
Oof.
Oh.
All right, Ilya's is just hanging on. Everyone else's is dead.
Yeah.
No.
No,
get me-
yours you
Kinda
didn't. You
still
fucking
has
missed.
one.
God damn it. Yeah.
Do
okay.
we get around while they're fighting to,
Yes.
I don't know, maybe
you do.
try and use the skull to
Sure.
open up a little pathway?
Yeah.
maybe,
So
perhaps?
we'll say that happens at the top of the round. So we'll let the stone cursed go, and then you guys go. All right. The stone cursed for you, Kayana gets a 10 to hit,
No.
and Ilya, yours gets a 22.
Yay.
That is 9 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
All right. Top of the round. Yeah. So, Shadra, what do you want to do? We've got the obsidian skull and nothing else.
Shader is gonna examine the skull.
Okay.
She is trying to determine if it's like cursed or something.
Is she picking it up? What is she doing?
She's just
dagger at
she's
him.
gonna poke it with her short sword
Okay.
first.
Nothing happens.
Alright, she picks it up.
Okay.
That
As
was the roll behind the screen.
As she touches it, her vision goes blank. And it stays that way for a few moments. And then the vision clears. And she sees before her a battle, which I will describe in a moment. Alright, Kayana, yours is still alive.
I'm gonna try and hit it again. That's only marginally better. 16.
That does not hit. No!
One hit wonder.
Woohoo!
I mean, at least it's not hitting you back.
It
guys
hit me
just-
once.
It did.
You guys well, didn't you hit it once?
Yes.
Yeah, so you guys have a gentleman's agreement.
Jeff and
start of a
Wartalk,
duel.
y'all are up.
Warthog is not Warthog, sorry. I forgot what I was doing for a second. Jeff is gonna pick up the skull.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, fuck.
Stop just grabbing things!
What did he and Kayana have a talk about, mister?
Alright,
Literally.
Jeff, as you pick it up, your vision goes blank. A few moments later, it clears, and you see yourself in what looks like the aftermath of a great battle. Bodies lie on the ground, some still writhing in pain and moving, trying to get to safety, others unmoving. You spy a woman, large in build with these intricate knotwork patterns all across her skin. She is sitting over a man, her strong arms kind of holding him up as she works some magic, it looks like. I'll continue the description in a moment. Wartalk.
Dies.
Oh
Alright,
no!
roll a new character.
Alright, cool. I'm gonna play Star Talk.
Alright, sweet.
Alright, I want to run at whatever wall cut me off from
Is he
everyone.
a space ganassi?
Yes. And as I'm going, I want to Clanky, pick up that thing, and then just run at the wall and kind of like bang at it.
Okay. Clanky picks it up. What is Clanky's intelligence score?
7.
Good enough.
Okay. Wait, no. What is it? D4. Okay. You see Clanky kind of freeze up. Well, you don't actually, because you're banging on the wall.
Yeah, I ran.
Nothing seems to happen.
Can I hear anything?
You can hear yourself banging on a wall.
Oh, okay. That's dang. All right.
You actually, you can probably hear things. You can hear some of your friends embroiled in the same kind of conflict that you were. You still hear the scraping of metal on stone and grunts of effort and motion, and sometimes are not followed up by impact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll turn around. Clanky, try and Clanky.
He
Crap.
bursts back into consciousness, like as you turn around, like. Clunk.
Put it down. Put it down. Drop it. Okay.
As he drops it, it disintegrates.
Oh.
Like, not even as it hits the ground, like on its way down, it just.
Shit!
What did you do?
It's now just like charades trying to get Clanky to tell you what he saw.
Yo, guys, straight up though, out of character, we should go like the next time we get back to town. We should get Clanky a voice box.
A speech module.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we really should.
Hope you guys get a lot of gold here.
I want to teach him
So do
bad jokes that he'll tell to people, and I don't think not naughty jokes, but just bad jokes.
We'll teach him about our friend
Alternatively-
Palpatine.
Alternatively, Ethan, shut up. We can tell. We can.
Let the man speak.
Alternatively, we could teach Clanky sign language.
But Palpatine jokes.
Question: does anyone know sign language?
No.
All right, so we'll teach Clanky, but also the rest of us well.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I assume that's pretty much the end of my.
Yeah.
What
So
is
Ilya.
that doing?
There's just like like sometimes when you put a cat on like the back of their bed, they'll start to like. She
Yeah.
does that, but like when she's cleaning herself, she'll hit that spot and then she'll start to freak out.
Nice.
She scratched my hand.
Alright, Ilya, it is your turn.
Yeah. I'm gonna attack it.
Okay.
Ooh.
What?
Okay, well I'm not gonna do the math, but I rolled a 16 and I have a 7 to hit.
Okay,
That's
23
23.
sounds good.
Hell yeah.
Alright, that hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Yay. 5.
I don't even remember what it was, so just
12.
it dies. Oh yeah, then
Cool.
it does die. So yeah, it collapses into dust, and there is a skull on the ground. Let's see. Ilya was followed up by Clanky only, right? So
Yes.
zoop, Shadra.
Shazer had picked up the skull.
Yep. So, you are side by side with a Goliath man. The same knotwork patterns that you've seen before cover his skin. He leads a band of 7 or 8 Goliath that are similar to him, though they seem lesser in status. His armor is more complete and more ornate than theirs. But each one of them is a warrior through and through. You can tell simply by looking at them. He is giving orders to his troops, and then a smaller Goliath, slighter in build, comes over and hands each one of these warriors a set of complex-looking spectacles. They all put them on, and suddenly your vision transports from your point of view into the Ulvari warriors' point of view. And you see the Wraith Hearts before you, like you have seen before, and as he puts the glasses on, their forms change and snap into focus. Where once were these shadowy beings that were difficult to kind of pin down their corporeality, now you can see very clearly these humanoid shapes that are defined and strong against the background of the battlefield. They are unclothed, and you can see now these very clear holes in the heart, which like fester and boil with rot. Um, the view from these spectacles seems to reveal more, though. You can see kind of patches on the wraith hearts where just they look weaker. The skin, the flesh is more sallow, more decayed, and it seems like you can tell spots on their bodies where they may be easier to hit, to damage. The unit charges into battle, and you see this kind of demonstrated. You watch the warrior whose perspective you've taken on carving through Wraithheart after Wraithheart, targeting these areas where he can see the skin is tighter and weaker around bone. And as the battle kind of reaches its climax is when your vision ends. And Shadra snaps back to reality to see the obsidian skull in her hands disintegrate. As it does, so too does the wall in front of her, leading her deeper into the labyrinth. All right, Kayana.
I try and hit the thing again. I don't hit the thing again.
Oh no.
It was a 16.
Oh man, this is gonna be great. It's just gonna be a session of y'all moving on and Kayana and this thing just trading misses. Ah.
Eventually, one of the
like
walls,
traveling deeper
one of the
into
walls
the
is gonna
maze.
disintegrate eventually.
We're good, fam.
All right. So it was after it was Kayana and then Jeff and Wartok were next, I believe.
Yeah.
So Jeff, you had a vision.
Yes.
You can see this Goliath nurse bringing this man back from the brink of death, and as she's working her magic, you catch a glimpse of this fluttering object that seems almost to orbit around the body she's attending to. It's spherical, made of brass, and you can kind of see these gears and inner workings, and as they kind of shift and rotate, you can catch a glimpse within of a glowing stone. And as the nurse is working with her patients, binding wounds and performing any medical operations that are necessary, occasionally you will see the stone glow brighter, and as it does, her hands begin to glow as well. And this is when you can see sort of wounds stitch themselves back up together through magic. Bones unbreak themselves and reset back into place properly. Fixed quite well. And each time you can see the eyes of a soldier just flicker open and look up at the strong but gentle face of this woman, and they just smile and rest. They feel safe in her hands. The nurse kind of moves to 4 or 5 different soldiers, and you see this repeated over and over again. Finally, you watch her come to one who looks like he was maybe a captain or a commander of a unit or platoon, and she bends over him and begins performing the same process. But unfortunately, he's too close to death. He's too far gone, and as the life passes from his body, you see her bow her head, and the stone begins to glow brightly and pulsate, and you can see her mouth uttering words as though in prayer. As she finishes her prayer, her eyes open, and she reaches down towards the neck of the fallen warrior, grasps something, and pulls it off. She turns it over and opens her hand to look at it, and you can catch just a slight hint of what she has retrieved. There seems to be this small version of the very thing that she was using to help her healing magics that was kept as a pendant around a necklace on this warrior's neck. And As she closes her hand around it, you see a bright pulse of light, much brighter than any of the others you had seen so far. And that is where the vision ends.
Yeah.
You shake yourself back to reality, and as the other two that you haven't seen, but the players know, as the other two before you, the skull disintegrates in your hands, and the way in front of you is revealed. All right.
Oh, okay.
Wartalk, as the skull in Clanky's hands disintegrates, you turn back around, and the wall that you had been banging on is gone.
Gone?
Gone. It's just not there anymore.
Okay.
But it no
What's-
longer
what's-
leads back to your friends. It seems to lead further into the maze.
That's not what I was hoping for. Alright.
All right. So, let's just resolve Kyanna's thing
yeah.
now. So just
Wait, did Ilya kill hers?
yes, but
Yeah.
okay,
But
sure,
you're before
fine.
me.
Yeah, you are before her in the order.
Oh god, finally. That's a 26 to hit.
Okay.
Yes,
So
bitch. Fuck him
before that
up.
one, its round, it got a 14 to hit. Does that hit?
No.
Okay, cool.
No.
So it whiffs, and you smack it with your shillelagh.
That
And
is
as it
max damage.
All
That is,
right.
well, 12 at base, 24 after.
You're
As
just
it winks
just
out of
that
existence.
guy.
It's like, I
Fucking-
thought we had something special.
fucking fed up with this, and you just like clink, and you just blow his head clean off with your shillelagh. And the body in front of you disintegrates, and you see an obsidian skull in the rubble. All right,
Okay.
Ilya, what you doing?
I'm gonna touch it.
Okay.
But like not full on grab it, just one of those like you're not sure if like the stove is on or if something's on and you're gonna
Yeah. All right. Give me just a sec. All right. So this one was Jeff.
That
Don't do it
reminds me,
yet.
I'm gonna go double check I turned the stove off.
That is important.
That would be important.
all viewers
Not
at home,
viewers.
go check your oven, make sure it's hot. This has been a PSA.
Alright, we're good. This
All right.
The
Just
stove
so
is-
that I'm not getting it mixed up, Jeff had the one with the nurse, and Shadra had the one with the spectacles, right?
Correct.
Okay. Cool. So Ilya, you are getting. Ah. Okay. This is cool. Your vision
Sick.
goes blank. A few moments pass in darkness before you open your eyes, but they're not your eyes. You look down, and you've taken on the form of this just absolutely hulking Goliath. He dwarfs, so there are Goliaths about him that are sort of his personal attaché. And he dwarfs even them. He stands head and shoulders above all of them. Slung over your back is this immense, gnarly-looking, kind of brass-headed hammer. And you find yourself in a circle, almost ceremonial of sorts. Surrounding you is a green grass field, and your guards are kind of back on that field, but you stand on the stonework, this beautifully inlaid marble with gold veins running through it, and with you are 10 others, 9 like unto you, warriors, fighters to the end. A 10th is a priest. And as you look on this image before you, your DM will pull up some notes and tell you some things about 9 of those people.
Whoa.
Whoa, man.
Oh, dude.
Okay. Names and visions come to you as you look at each of your companions. Dellen is one of them, to your left. He is wearing a cloaked shawl that covers most of his head, and you can't quite see his face underneath of it. He is slender, and you see a pair of yellow eyes that kind of dart between everyone as the priest is giving a speech. Next, sort of going clockwise from your left, you see Freylir, a female half-orc who has very simple sort of black gambeson mail over top of it, and a kind of priest's robes or raiment. She is just kind of austere. She's standing with a very serious face, hanging on the priest's every words, as though any one of them could mean life or death. Third, you see a unique creature. He seems almost to be half human, half boar. There are these large tusks that come up out of his mouth, and his snout is drawn outward into the snubbed kind of nose, and the top of his head is like brown, bristly fur, but beyond that it kind of extends down onto his neck and shoulders and kind of frames his face. He has much more hair than a typical human, and he kind of has this kind of hunched over back, almost as though he was meant to walk on all fours. He is almost as big as you are, and sort of just planted into the stone at his side is an immense battle axe that just radiates power.
Does he have a name?
Ethelyn. Aethulen. To his left is almost his polar opposite, whereas Ethelyn seems to embody just battle rage and bloodlust. The woman to his left is the picture of serenity. You know her name as Jocelyn. Actually, did I tell you the second's name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Freylir?
Yep.
Right.
Jocelyn. Her countenance has earned her the moniker the Serene. She's a human woman, a woman of the cloth, and she is bedecked in these very fine, very bright white robes that are accented with gold and red, and over her left breast is a flaming heart. She, in her left hand, wields a glaive. This glaive is trimmed in gold and red, just as her raiment is, and yet, even as a weapon of war, it itself emanates this kind of aura of calming and serenity. Next, you see an elven man. His name is Falanduir. He has the typical high elf looks, except for one peculiar thing. Whereas most high elves have blonde or white hair, Falanduir's is jet black. Otherwise, he has the same slender, lean frame, flowing long hair and robes, and he has this very graceful countenance about him. On his wrist, you see encircled a bracelet, and on that bracelet is engraved a carving of a bow. Next to him is Hilla. She is a tall, elven woman yet again. Her hair fits the more elvish stereotype of being bright, bright yellow, and her eyes glow a bright green. She has this very perfectly made form-fit leather armor, and at her side, on her right, is a dagger, and on her left is a rapier. She exudes the confidence of one who has seen many battles, and though you are easily twice her height, you know she could hold her own against you. And she is one of the few in this crowd that you're kind of wary of, one that you think of as truly an equal. Uh, to her left is one you take as something of a joke. He's a halfling. He's tall for a halfling, but you are easily triple his size. He's kind of plain and unassuming looking, and you don't really know why he's here. You don't feel like he belongs. His name is Devagir. He wields nothing but a simple sling.
I would die for him.
Ilya might, but the hammer would not. Also,
Yeah.
your name is the Hammer. You had
Oh,
a birth
sick.
name, but no one's ever called you that since you were like 4. Let's see. Second to last is another woman of the cloth. This one, however, is shit, I fucked it up. Jocelyn is not the one with the flaming heart. Perilia is the one with the flaming heart. Yeah, Jocelyn is everything else about her was correct. The flaming heart was not. Perilia, whose moniker is the Heart Awash in Glory, is a human priestess in similar pure white robes to Jocelyn's, but hers have a flaming heart over the left side of her chest. On the back of her hand is a sigil, one you recognize as being associated with Torm, the god of courage and self-sacrifice.
My dude.
Your god.
My man's.
She stands proudly and strong and is like to Freylir, listening very intently to the priest. And you can kind of see her doing her own sort of mental calculus as she's hearing what he says. Finally, you come across a noble-looking human man, maybe half your size, named Artur. He is from, as far as you know, a far-off land that not many people have ever visited. And you suppose there must be some reason he was picked, but it's hard to say. He certainly looks strong enough, but his noble countenance makes you think that maybe he's seen more battles from the rear, not in the front lines. That's at least your assumption. But nonetheless, he stands among you as a hero like unto you, and listens to the priest's words with a little bit of a cocky smile on his face, but nonetheless listening intently. He seems to not be telling everything with what his face betrays. The priest is delivering a speech with hushed tones. He's making grand overtures about the fate of the world and civilization as we know it, the fall of both, and these are words that Ilya does not recognize, but no one in the crowd gives a second note to. But the priest says, it will be the end of the Ulvari and the Ikonungar as we know them. Both will fall.
Sorry, Matt.
Yeah,
Matt,
I'm
you cut
gonna-
out the end of the Ulvari and.
That's great. The one you hadn't heard before.
Censoring.
The end of the Ulvari and the Ikonungar. So that's a fun one to spell. Eikonungr. Ikonungar.
I want to let. I'm not even gonna try.
Yep. It will be the end of all of us. You, and he looks around him, are the only ones in this land we believe can stop it. Each of you will be entrusted with a weapon imbued with more power than any you have ever seen, known, or heard of. The gods themselves are bestowing these upon you. Kind of lets the weight of those words sink in, and you see Freylir and Perilia specifically kind of straighten their backs and they look almost taken aback, surprised. And he continues on in this vein. The vision does not last for too much longer, but you get the sense, just from what you've heard in your brief time with these other people, that you've been adventuring with the past few weeks now, that this has to do with the Scouring and this being called Hronglathor, although that name is never mentioned in the priest's speech. He refers to a being of chaos. He refers to the tempestuous one, but he never says the name Hronglathor.
The weatherman.
Yes.
He's giving out one too many bad forecasts. We gotta end it now.
And so this vision lasts for a few minutes as you take stock of the others of the heroic decad, and you hear the priest give his spiel. And as Arthur kind of takes a step forward into the center and begins to speak, asking a question, it seems. But that is where your vision ends.
No!
Yep.
I didn't pay the Netflix subscription! Shit!
All right. So, we have Kyanna now.
Right. So I know it has been a very long time out of character, and a reasonably long time in character too. But would I remember seeing this in the old Sedge Fort?
Very
Azrath
possibly.
had one of these.
Very possibly. Go ahead and
'Cause
make an intelligence check for me. Or history
Sure.
specifically, I guess.
That is a natural 17.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna say 7.
I did too, because like your voice kind of lilted at the end of natural, and I was like, oh, this wasn't good.
Natural 7.
Natural 17.
That was actually like perfectly inflected to reflect what she had said, other than the teen. And yes, so that's what it sounded like to me. All right, but yes, you
Sorry.
remember it. No, it's fine. It was good. It was you subverted my expectations, Christine. All right. Yes, so you recall.
Okay. Real quick, are there any like runes or markings on it at all?
It is smooth the whole way over.
Alright, alas, poor Yorick. Let's pick that skull up.
Alrighty.
Make her cry, Matt.
Okay. Actually, this one is a little bit sad.
You better hit me with
It's
everything
not
you
terrible, but it's pretty
got.
sad.
Better kill me in one shot.
Hit her again.
Wow.
Hit him again.
Okay. Your eyes flick open after a moment of darkness, and all you can hear around you is scurrying and shouting and the clashing of steel. As quickly as it begins, it's over, and it's hard to really say exactly what went on. There are whispers in your camp of an ambush. You were attacked in the night. Several died, but the attackers were routed. And you are you're kind of walking through, taking stock, trying to find familiar faces. You see most of those you knew, but you cross one or two of those who are charged with burning the bodies of the intruders, of those who ambushed you. They're weeping. And it's not for their own loss. There's something, it's hard to tell, but something seems to be grieving them about defeating these foes. Something is wrong. This wasn't a straightforward fight like it should have been. Like all the fights the Ulvari have are supposed to be. This wasn't like that. And you walk over to the section of the camp where these interlopers are being disposed of, and you look into the flames, and just for a moment, your heart wrenches as you see a face you know from many years ago. but as soon as you see it, it has disappeared, mottled again by the decayed and shadowed and dark flesh that overtakes it in the flame. And your vision ends.
Okay,
Well-
I was about to attempt to speak.
Nope.
Yeah, I probably would have failed.
These don't have, unfortunately, these do not have much in the way of agency on the part of the vision haver.
That's okay. That is okay. It's still something she might have tried to do in character.
Certainly.
But sometimes that's just how it be.
Yeah. Alrighty. All of you now have ways opened to
A
you forward.
single tear.
It wasn't too heart-wrenching, I know.
No.
Because it's not like it's someone that Kayana knew. It's just,
No.
you had a
don't
sense
know
of
that.
familiarity. I
Just
definitely do.
A lingering emotion.
She doesn't know that.
Huh?
That's fair. But okay. So all of you have a way forward. Is anybody going to do... Well, what do you all want to do? It looks
Jeff is
for
just
the
gonna
world like you have one path forward.
Jeff is just gonna shout like, "Guys, hello."
You all can hear him, but it is very distant.
Ooh.
Are you guys still here?
I'm gonna pinch myself, make sure it's not an illusion.
It is not.
Shit.
This is getting weird. Can someone say something, please?
Hey! Are you guys alright?
Oh, hi. I'm good. Are you good?
I'm good.
I'm more
Hello.
talk.
Look,
Okay,
hello.
more talk's fine. I think. Oh,
Little bruised, but altogether alright.
you guys all touched that weird skull?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Did you all see weird things? Did you all
Yeah.
see a vision?
I look at Clanky.
Yeah. I guess we can talk about it more when we're all back together. I don't know what happened, but it seems like we're scattered everywhere.
Yes,
think-
Jeff.
Yeah, we'll talk about the weird visions that we all had after we find a way out of this maze.
I hope. Okay. Yeah. Stay safe, please. This is weird.
You're not my mom. I run into the next area
Okay.
with Clanky. I'm holding him.
Of
So
course.
you make Clanky carry you into the next area. Mush!
Alright, so, the group of you all make your ways deeper into the maze in your respective sections. I'd like everyone to make survival checks.
Ah, shit, dude.
Does Clanky also?
You can make one with him, so you can pick the better of your two scores, I suppose.
Okay.
Ooh, I didn't roll good. All right,
Get
so
as good as I want.
Oh,
And it's
that's what-
probably not a pass.
all right, so Jeff got a 10 and Shadra got a natural 1.
That's
Oh,
got
me
it.
too. I died.
I
There
got
are
a
no...
12.
So, it's a nat 1, but what is the total, Jeff?
3. Jeff got a 10. Shadra's total was 3
3.
with the natural 1.
Okay, and Ilya, what's your total?
2.
Okay. Kenny, you said 12?
Huh?
12.
Clanky and Wartalk, how'd you do?
19.
Alright.
Yay!
Get out of here.
Somebody
So-
does it right.
Get out of here, Brother Nature.
Wait.
Wartalk, you notice something very odd. As you're traversing through this maze, first of all, there seems to only ever be one path. There are branches, but they tend to end very quickly, and
Okay.
they tend to end up meeting back with the path where it branched very, very swiftly. You backtrack very easily. More than that, though, sometimes they backtrack too quickly. Sometimes you take a branch and you turn around and you're almost immediately back at the first split. Almost as though the walls are changing as you're moving through this maze. as you begin to kind of keep an eye out for this, once you become aware of its possibility, you in fact notice it a couple of times. You see here and there a wall shift to cover an exit from where you came and push you along in a single direction. However, it's not the only strange thing you notice.
Good.
You also see that the sun has barely moved since you entered the maze. It feels like hours have gone by, but the sun is in the exact same spot in the sky as you recall it being when you entered.
Oh, gee.
This is not surprising.
After no time, but what feels like about 3 hours, you come upon what looks like a dead end. Turn around, and sure enough, a wall has closed itself off behind you. What would you like to do?
Alright, does one of you guys want to die again? No?
Y'all
Okay.
can't hear him at this point either.
Oh, I assume he's talking to like the rock people.
Oh yeah, I was.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking my party mates if they want to die again.
I don't
We
know.
hear off
Maybe.
we hear off in the distance. You wanna fucking die, bro?
Come at me, bruh.
Give me a mo.
Okay.
Well, continue talking. Sorry, I
Oh,
should not have said it like that.
Oh, you're fine. I'll walk around, see if I see anything on the walls, kind of cautiously tap on the walls.
Okay, you do, in fact. As you approach the wall that looked like a dead end,
Okay.
you see an orb that's kind of maybe half embedded in the wall, but half of it is sort of protruding out towards you.
Okay.
I'll give you a
I'll
little
look
more,
at-
sorry.
Oh.
Did you say you're going to lick it?
No, I was gonna look at Clanky
Oh.
for a second.
Do it, lick it, taste it,
Taste the rainbow.
taste it.
Clanky is kind of hunched so that his head doesn't go over the walls, but he just kind of gives you a, well, I don't know, bro.
That's fair.
As you examine the orb a little bit closer, you can see it has these sort of, it's not solid. It kind of has a few rings that make up the shape of an orb, but there are openings and slits within them that kind of let you peer into its innards, where you can see an immensely complex system of gears and pistons and small little, like, what look like hammers or, what are they called? Shit. Drivers? Yeah, sure, drivers. I don't know. And in the very center, you see a small gemstone. As you're peering into it, I'd like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Taste it.
I applaud Wiz. 17.
Okay, vision number 2.
Oh.
All right,
Vision number 1 for me. Let's go.
that's true. That's true. You find yourself in a familiar setting. It is the chamber from your previous dream with ambition. However, the items that are sat upon each altar in cardinal directions have changed. Instead of wealth and riches and your lost friend, what now appears there seems to be a memoir. You see a brooch made of a silver-plated branch with obsidian inlay running throughout it. The brooch is snapped in half and lies broken on a table. You see atarax broken at the base of the blade, snapped cleanly in half. You see a set of weighted gambling dice that you recall as being Jeremiah's. They are stained with blood. You see the necklace that you recall Aqualaria wearing when the two of you were close. The stone within the center of the pendant is cracked. You hear a voice boom out from behind you. It sounds, on the surface, like ambition, but there's a gravelly cracking to it that sets it apart. A bit heavy-handed, is it? Good. You deserve it. You've failed them. All of them. All of that talk about noble ambitions and protecting your loved ones. And you could do nothing to save them. With your save, you look around and your eyes fall on Jeremiah's dice. You feel a pang of regret. Of course, he was your friend. You were close to him. But you know that his death was exactly one of the things that spurred you on to grow stronger. You've helped your friends overcome foes much more powerful than the one that killed him. His words don't hold sway. You look at the broken necklace from Aquilaria, and you don't believe it. You can feel in your heart she's still out there somewhere. Just have to find her. Your eyes fall next on Atarax. You saw it mere hours ago. Jeff is not so weak as to let something like this conquer him. You'll be back together soon enough, and you know that with the two of you, you can defeat this. Finally, your eyes fall on Kayana's brooch, broken in half. More than anything, anger wells up inside you that someone would be so foolish as to think you would fall for such a bullshit trick. You're having none of it.
Can I move?
Sure.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
Oh, oh,
Oh, honey.
oh.
Who are you?
Well done. I'm you. I'm all of your doubts, all of your worries, all of the things that make you want to run away. But here you are. Well done indeed. I think you're just about worthy. And the vision fades. It drops. And you see that orb in front of you begin to swirl and change. And it begins to spin faster and faster and faster until it's glowing almost hot. And you can feel the heat beginning to emanate off of it. But it's not a painful heat. It's not oppressive. It's warm. And the wall begins to slide downward. You step out into a clearing. And as you do, you see something you didn't quite expect. But we'll come back to that in a moment. All right, Kayana. You wander for what seems like ages. It is only when you begin to feel hungry that you look up and you note it's not even close to dinner time yet. It's no later than when you left. You begin to wonder how that's possible. You know it's been hours. But no sooner do you look up and you have this thought than you walk right into a wall that you hadn't seen.
Oh, honey.
Smack.
And on that wall is an orb,
Oh.
kind of half protruding, half embedded in the wall, made up of these sort of concentric rings sort of swirl slowly, giving you intermittent views of the interior of it. And you can see the same sort of clockwork, immense gear structure that I described earlier. And within, you also see a gemstone, and I would like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Alright, it's time. Fuck her up. Okay.
Oh, no.
Gambate.
That is a 16.
A
Hell yeah.
16. Okay.
That is a 16. Make her cry.
Wait.
No! Don't make her cry! Give her a tissue!
Okay. Kayana blinks, and all at once the
Do
scene
your
around
worst.
her changes. Instead of this cold metal maze, she finds herself in a warm-looking room, lit by a softly glowing fire in a homely little hearth. Two tall elves sit at a table, a pair of candles between them. You can see their mouths moving. They seem to be chattering, and one of them laughs, and the other one kind of just smiles and puts a hand on the second's shoulder. You can't quite hear anything they're saying, though. It's almost like a... Not that Kayana knows what this is, but for Christine, it's almost like a silent movie. Their backs are to you, but you feel a sense of familiarity somehow. Would you like to do anything?
I guess just kind of look around, maybe like do a waving motion. Notice me?
Okay. They don't seem to notice you. They seem to be kind of too engrossed in their conversation. They're not really looking about themselves very much.
Sorry, excuse me. Where am I? What is? Who are you guys?
Much as you cannot hear them, they do not seem to be able to hear you.
Alright, I guess I'm gonna try like walking in front of them then.
Okay. As you do, it's hard. You begin walking, but it's almost as though the room is rotating as you're walking. And every step you take trying to get around this table is only moving them further and further out of your view, so that the net effect is 0. You notice something else. You can't smell anything. There's definitely food on the table. There's fire crackling on the candles and clearly wood burning in the hearth, but none of those smells are reaching you. You kind of continue trying to walk about and get them to face you, and at one point, instead of trying to go around, you take a step directly towards them. And as you do, you kind of reach out and your hand hits something. Some barrier separating you from these people. You look at your hand and back up, and suddenly there's a third figure there. This one you recognize, and in fact a name bubbles up. It's Solomon. He's there with these other two. You call out, but likewise he cannot seem to hear you. You are shut off from them. As you blink, another figure appears, and then another, and a sixth. All of them you can feel on the very edge of your mind that you know them. But this warm, loving scene is separate from you, secluded.
Oof.
Oof.
Oof. Okay. Okay.
The vision begins to fade, but it doesn't quite break. It vignettes to the point that all you can see is the table and these people all facing away from you. all cut off, and a thought bubbles up in your mind. As you think on your situation and where you have been for the past months, what if I am stuck here? What if, even if we could accomplish our goal and defeat this thing, what if I still can't go back home? What if we can't?
Let me tell you, it is not the first time she has thought that.
What if you can't convince the gods that it's safe? What if you can never be with those you love again? And now the vision fades. As you open your eyes and the scene before you kind of comes back into view, you take 10 points of psychic damage.
You didn't pass the saving throw.
I thought you were gonna say sad. You take 10 points of sad damage.
10 points of sad damage.
Way more than 10 points.
Shit.
Critical sadness.
That's what clinical depression.
Time to look up the random table of sadness effects.
Ah, shit.
All right.
Losing joy from all of your interests. Yeah.
Oh, let's not go that far.
Alright, cut it off,
not
Chief.
make it real if we could.
It's already there, I think, guys.
It's already
Alright.
there.
Whew. All right.
We got much
That's
more of
my
this.
saving throw, y'all.
You did it! Yay! Happy!
I don't have
You had more
proficiency in
depressed.
that one.
No.
Okay.
Well. Sobbing.
Yeah.
Sobbing.
Um,
That'll do it. That'll do it.
The orb
Just-
begins to spin, and somewhat slowly, the wall begins to sort of drop. And you see before you a clearing. You step out into it as you're sobbing, and Wartalk, you hear some sobbing from the other side of the
Oh
clearing.
no.
And shoot, it was Shadra? No, Jeff got the next highest.
Yeah, Jeff is next.
All right, Jeff, make a wisdom saving throw for me. Well, let's give you the setup first. So Jeff, it is getting on towards evening before you notice the lack of passage of time. You've been traveling for hours, and you begin to think to yourself, shouldn't the sun be setting? And you look up.
Man, where's the sun not moving?
Yeah. It hasn't moved an inch. And no sooner do you have this thought than you hear a voice. Jeff.
Oh, who's that?
It kind of
No.
circles around and comes from another part of your field of perception. Jeff.
No.
Come here.
No.
Wait, who are you? Who's talking to me?
Kind of.
You the eyeball.
Your third eye begins kind of darting the opposite direction of your other two, until you see a little ways away, maybe 30 or 40 yards, you see a small recess or protrusion. It's hard to tell from this distance, but you see an irregularity in the brass walls that make up the maze, and the sound seems to be coming from there.
Oh, thank God, at least something looks different over here. I've been walking, feels like hours.
So
I'm gonna go look at it.
You approach it, and as you examine the orb, you can see it's made up of these concentric annuli that encircle a very complex contraption of gears and cogs and pistons and hammers, all swirling around a central gem that flicks over towards you, and you can see a small pupil in the very center of it.
What?
briefly, you're unsure if it's a reflection of your own third eye or if the pupil is actually there. It's hard to say, but before you can really get your bearing and decide on the answer, I'd like you to make a wisdom saving throw. As your
Okay.
vision goes blank.
I got a 14.
A 14. Okay. Jeff, you open your eyes, and you seem shorter.
What?
You're
Ugh.
the viewpoint you have is from only a few feet off the ground. But you're
I don't like this.
Baby.
but you're in a familiar setting. You look around and you're in your family's farmhouse. It's
No.
warm in here, and it's nice. Your parents don't seem to be in the immediate vicinity, but you can kind of hear the sounds of your father working on some. What was your father? He was an old soldier, so he's sharpening his blade in the other room, preparing for your evening's sparring session, as he's been teaching you a good bit of the sword lately. You feel this kind of excitement well up in your chest as you think about learning more from this man you respect so much. You can hear your mother in the kitchen because that's where bitches belong. Now,
Wow.
Hey, whoa!
Whoa.
We drink respect women juice in this house.
do we? Is that what this is? Shit.
What? Dang, Matt. All right.
She is in the kitchen, but it's not because it's where she belongs. It's because it's where she wants to be.
As long as it's her choice.
It is absolutely her choice. She also runs the farm, so there ain't no patriarchy going on
Oh,
here.
hell yeah, queen.
Um,
You own lands. You
Yeah.
own property.
Yeah, no, she good. She's a strong, mostly independent, but she loves her family, so there's a slight choice of dependency. But if she had to, she could be independent woman.
Yeah, I feel you. You're good.
Um,
Continue.
so,
Go on.
You can hear your mother working in the kitchen, and you're just you're kind of enjoying a little bit of time to yourself, relaxing after working with your mother on the farm for a long day. Everything feels content, peaceful, simple even, and it's just kind of hard not to feel happy about it. But as you are having these thoughts, you begin to daydream. It starts with your dad's last sparring session with you and the new moves you learned, the new parry that he taught you. But suddenly you kind of find your viewpoint drifting back from sort of the scene of you and your dad on the field play fighting. And you see drifting back and up, your vision, your field of view begins to broaden, and you can see the town near your family's farm. Then you can see even the city that is maybe a week's travel from where you live. You're very, very high up now, and you're beginning to see even a curvature on the horizon, which fucking blows your mind, but that's for another time.
Oh my god, our world is round? Oh my god.
You can see the great Darren River flowing south of where your family lives. You see, even beginning to see sort of other cities and other duchies and a mountain range that you didn't even know existed. And as your vision is widening, so too do your ears begin thrumming with this din. You can hear the sounds of so many, many people. The joyful cries and laughs of you and your father fighting are drowned out by this immense intermingling of emotions from all over the world. It is just almost too much to bear. Jeff is hit with this enormity of just how much goes on in the world at large, how diminutive and insignificant his family's farmhouse is. You hear shouts of joy, of pain, of terror, of elation. all of these conflicting emotions are warring in your head. You can see columns of soldiers marching northward from Dane. You can see a fleet of ships moving to the west. You can feel the wings of a great dragon beating underneath of you. You can smell the acrid stench of the swamps that sit just south of the Darren River in northern Dane, that you didn't even know were there before now. All of these sensations are just bombarding you, and you feel small. So hopelessly small. And as you look downward, Jeff, you feel like the world is just so big. There's only 5 of you. Yeah, you've done some things that may or may not have helped some people, but against all this, in the enormity of what you see before you, how can you make a difference? Black. Jeff, you take 10 psychic damage as you shake yourself from this vision, and you just feel not completely defeated, but just morose, a little hopeless. It's hard to keep going, but you see the orb beginning to spin and glow, and the wall in front of you descends, and you have another path forward into a clearing. It looks like you'll finally get out of the maze.
Does he hear crying?
As you take your first step forward, you hear weeping to your right. All right.
Hey Matt, I just wanted to let you know, throughout a lot of that, you were cutting like bits and pieces
God
very frequently.
Damn it. Okay.
Yeah, it was mostly at the end of sentences, but like.
Was it enough to get the gist of things? Okay.
Yeah, I still understand what was going on.
All right. I think I know how to. Well, actually, so that wouldn't be a Discord thing. Or that would be a... So if I'm cutting out here, I'm probably cutting out a little bit worse on stream. So I'm going to change up my gate, but that won't help on you guys. That's just going to have to be me not being a little bitch.
Ooh, snap. Shut up, cat.
Hey.
They're knocking stuff over.
Rude. They're just expressing themselves.
They can express themselves elsewhere.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'm kind of looking at the Discord, or the stream. I think I might have... Okay, that might be a bit better. Actually, is it quieter in here than it was? It is. All right.
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, but I don't think stream can. Back to like 30.
Time to turn on subtitles.
Okay, yeah, that's much better. Cool. Okay, so. Woot woot. Alrighty.
Yay, the party's sad now. Woot. Yay.
Not all of the party yet.
Yay!
Suffering.
All right, yet keywords. So, Ilya, you rolled what was your total? 2?
2.
So Shader's actually
had
before
3.
you. All right.
Yeah.
So, we're not going to do Shader's vision because she ain't here. I'll give it to Cody when I can chat with him, which will probably be later this evening. But, Ilya, let's jump to you.
Yay.
Alrighty, so with a 2, it is, like, it should literally be night. And you're like, you just suddenly have this realization, like, it ain't dark out. The fuck? And you look around and you see that the sun has not moved at all. And this catches you very much off guard to the point that you kind of like trip backwards and you stumble and you fall. And as you kind of like are lying on your back and looking up, you can see this orb spinning above you. And I'd like you to make a wisdom save as you peer into its depths and see a glowing crystal within.
17.
Okay, nice. Good, good, good.
Yeah! Can't catch me, sadness.
All right. Ilya, from your position, from your prone position looking upward, you kind of...
Oh, bad trip, guys.
Your eyes kind of like roll back for a moment and your vision goes white. And you blink out of it, and suddenly you're not prone anymore. You're standing, looking in on a small room inside of a makeshift hovel. It's dilapidated, old, kind of run down in a not so great part of town, and it's not at all where you expected to find your dad. But there he is, a cloak drawn about him from the winter's chill. He's rocking back and forth. Scars cover the parts of his hands that you can see drawing the cloak closer. And you can see his mouth moving quietly. And as you kind of step closer, you can make out the words that he's whispering. It's all pointless. Pointless, he says. They've deserted us. Over and over. It's all pointless. They've deserted us. And each time he says it, it's almost with more and more conviction until he shudders and starts over quietly again. This shakes you to your core as it confirms what you'd heard. He's turned his back on everything. He doesn't believe in Torm anymore. The other paladins and clerics and monks at the temple where you grew up, he's deserted them, turned his back on them, decided never to help again. His honor, the word he made that he would forever serve his god, tarnished, thrown aside. Even you. He stopped looking. He stopped caring. Somewhere in your heart you knew, but it wasn't confirmed until this moment, until you saw him broken, scarred, and muttering to himself like some being lesser than what he was.
Can I move?
You can.
I embrace him from behind.
Okay. You hug
Place
him,
my head on his shoulder.
and you show this gesture of compassion. And of a sudden, lightning flashes outside. You had walked here in the storm, and you were drenched from head to toe. But the lightning was the first stroke of the storm, and as you see it illuminate the inside of the shack, your father's face changes. It goes from what was a shadow of the man you knew, but still recognizable as the same, to a devilish, glaring visage. It sneers at you. And as the light from the stroke fades, the face does not. It remains there, pulls from your grasp, and continues. And he looks you up and down, and he says, all this time, and you've been following one doomed to be consumed by evil. How do you think that bodes for you? But as he's saying this, you can respond if you'd like.
I go to hug him.
Okay. as you do, um, you walk up and you hold him tightly. And
My heart. Okay, sorry, I was gonna say something.
yeah, go for it. That's why I stopped.
Okay. Even if he becomes consumed, even if I do, and my bones break, and I can no longer walk or talk or find a way, I'm not alone. There will be others.
You see this
And,
devilish visage falter, and of a sudden it becomes your dad's face again. But this time, the scars that you had seen marring its surfaces are gone. They're healed. The broken look behind his eyes is no longer there, and they burn with the fire and the faith that once you knew.
I will always forgive you, no matter what path you take. You're my father, and I love you.
He smiles, and he looks at you in your eyes and says, that forgiveness, that willingness to go to the ends of the earth for those you believe in, that's going to save us all. And the vision fades, and you blink, and you are still on the ground.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
You pull yourself upward.
Pick yourself up, Queen. Your
You
crown's
hear
falling.
you hear the whirring of the spinning orb behind you, and you brush yourself off, and you turn around and walk through the now open doorway in front of you. As you do, so does Shadra and the rest of your party. Now, those of you who pass, that is, got a 17 or above, which I think is only Ilya and Wartalk?
That's correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Both of you have inspiration.
Yay! We're resistant to sad.
That's not true.
Nothing is resistant to sad. Not even the Tarask is resistant to sad.
Shadra, I'm going to say, is probably fine, but that is neither here nor there, really. Except, well, actually, shit, damn it.
Does Shadra already have
No,
It's also
or
damage
actually,
that might be coming.
oh, Shader actually does have inspiration.
Okay.
I actually already do as well.
Does Uncanny Dodge work on sadness?
No.
What is her
What about
wisdom save
evasion?
modifier?
It's +2.
Okay, so she's fine. She Gucci. And
Okay.
so that will be a fake roleplay moment. She's fine, but I'll actually make her do the roll and go through her thing later. I just want to know for what's about to come, whether or not she passed or failed. Okay.
All right.
So, the group of you find yourselves in a clearing. And you've kind of spilled out of this maze at 5 separate points, maybe 10 or 15 feet. Between you. Before you is a monumental building, just enormous, larger than probably any you've ever seen before. In fact, as you think back, the Elverite Sanctum from which you just came, had that been standing in its full glory, it may have been close to this, but that is the only edifice that you can recall that even approaches this size. The whole thing is made of this shimmering brass that glimmers even without a natural source of light, as you've kind of come inside of this this swirling orb of wind, and things are lit. It's not pitch black, but you can see no particular source. There's no sun that penetrates through this orb.
Oh, we lost.
Bye, Harley.
Oop, I bet her Discord died.
Probably.
F.
F.
We'll wait like 30 seconds and see if she gets back in here.
Meanwhile, your child is bawling.
No.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to react to that, basically.
Yeah. I'm waiting to act that out too. We'll
Yeah.
wait till Harley gets back.
Yep.
I might start crying too.
Oh my gosh, you froze
no.
very briefly when you said let's wait for Harley to get
What?
back, and I was like, no, we lost her too. I don't know how much of that you could hear, Christine, because it sounded like...
I didn't.
Okay, I think that might be on your end.
No, it's on your end, unfortunately.
Okay, because it sounded like Ethan heard it, but maybe he just
Oh.
heard enough to make out what I was saying.
Yeah, I heard the very start of it, and then you cut out.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm gonna take a bio real quick then.
Do it.
Hmm.
Nah. Do.
Wow. That was a very rude thing to do.
So how you feeling?
I am trying to psych up to cry.
Wait. No. No.
You got very, very close to letting it loose. You got very close.
Yeah, so you got... So there were 3... Peek behind the screen since we're taking a little break. There were 3 modes here. You could succeed, you could fail, or you could fail by more than 5. The DC was 17, so no one actually failed by more than 5, which was really good.
What would have happened if that had happened?
So,
Happens.
the mechanical thing was you suffer a level of exhaustion, but basically, like, every tier was just significantly worse in how you ended up feeling than the last. So, yeah, it would have not been fun for Kyanna.
No,
'Cause-
not at all.
Kind of the running theme was if you failed, it was like okay, yeah, maybe this sucks, maybe this is the case, maybe everything is for naught. If you fail by more than 5, it's just like, yes, everything is fucked and we're all going to die a sad and alone death, and nothing matters.
I asked that we not make it real.
Oh shit, Nick's back. I mean, rainbows and tiptoe through the tulips.
Hello.
Hello, I'm back.
Alrighty.
Why did they not tell you that they're gonna reset the router?
Don't know.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was this a roommate or a tech person?
No, this is roommate.
Oh, well, that's less than great. Sorry to hear that. Alrighty.
Kirby's fucking pissed.
Yeah. What'd I miss?
Nothing, because we saw you go away and we were like, alright, we're going to take a break for a few as we wait for Harley to come back.
Thanks.
Alright, so the 5 of you enter this this chamber, this clearing rather, together. You see each other for the first time in what feels like hours, and a very harrowing number of hours at that. Even for those of you who came out, like, well and invigorated, like, what you saw was shitty.
Is
I am
Kyanna still
not
crying?
standing. I am on my knees.
Cool. I'm gonna go and hug her.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Aw, group hug.
Kyanna, whatever you saw was not real. I don't know who this is. It wasn't real. They're trying to get to you. Just, we're here. Whatever it is, we're gonna get you through it, and it's gonna be fine. Just don't worry about it. Just forget. Nothing happened. Just forget it. It was a bad dream.
It wasn't a bad dream, though. It's not. That was.
You're cutting out.
I know, it's on purpose.
Oh, some of it sounded on purpose, and some of it sounded very much like Mike cut out.
Oh, well, shit. Fuck Discord.
Right?
It's not just. None of that was really a lie. It's...
It doesn't matter what they said. It doesn't matter what you heard. We're gonna get you through it.
I didn't hear anything. It was... There are people in my life that I can't even remember their faces anymore. My mom and my dad are gonna continue to live their lives with me. And so are all the people that I used to know. I may as well just be dead for them. And I might never be coming back. We don't know that I'm never going back.
Kayana, you never truly die until someone's forgotten you. And I don't think your parents are going to be forgetting you anytime soon. Nor will any of us.
But that's the problem. I've forgotten them. I don't remember what they look like. I don't know what their names are.
Do you remember who they are?
No.
Not their names, not their face, but what they meant to you.
DM, do I?
What was the full question? Sorry.
Do I remember
you...
the essence of my parents, like their personality? I don't think I do.
I don't think you would either.
Oh.
So, what I will say is, as you're trying to call it to memory, make a history check.
19.
Oh. There's another one where you sounded really defeated as you were saying the first part, and then it was like teen. Oh, shit, okay.
Unfortunately, a 17.
Yeah.
I got an A. It's million.
So, yes, actually. As she puts this question to you, you kind of take a deep breath and close your eyes. And you still can't remember a face or a name, but you can remember the warmth. Both of your parents were very kind, and they always made you feel like you had a home. There was always a place to go back to. You could get hurt, you could be in trouble, you could be distraught, and there was always a place for you. That much you do remember.
Okay. I mean, I remember that it was always a happy home, but...
That is enough.
No, it's not enough. I'm always going to be in this in-between state, not belonging to either world, not knowing if I'm ever going back. I don't know that I'm ever going to have that happy home again. This isn't where I belong.
I know it's a big world. I know it's easy to feel small. I feel small right now, to be perfectly honest, but I suppose you'll never know that's truly impossible until you stop trying. Paul always used to say fields never plant themselves. Just got to keep working at it. Who knows I can't honestly tell you what we'll be able to do, but we'll do our best. There's always hope as long as we at least try.
At the very least, for now, you belong with us. Oh, honey, don't cry.
I may not understand magic, and I may be dumber. Oh no.
Oh. You can't.
It wasn't me
stop.
this time.
Darling, dry your
Oh.
tears.
You'll-
Does
You'll
the
always have a home with
parent
us.
thumb thing where they wipe your tears out of your eyes?
Mhm.
I'm gonna
Mm.
offer you a little bit of my cape to blow your nose on if you need it.
Oh, Jeff. Jeff, no, that's covered in your sweat blood, please.
Oh, sorry.
Quickly checks equipment, seeing if I have a handkerchief.
it's Kiana. You'll always have a home with us, and I mean, we'll do whatever we can to help you get back home if that's what you want. You've got the Siegebreakers on your team. Come on now.
Heck, you are a Siegebreaker.
That's true. We got your back. Don't worry. And by the way, I'm just gonna yell up to the tower. You better be able to explain yourself when I see you, or I'm gonna find a mirror and I'm gonna make you watch as I exsanguinate you alive. Okay.
Whoa.
Um.
Okay.
Warthog, I don't know what
Yeah.
that word means. It sounded scary.
Yeah.
This is
Don't.
Actually,
big
so
hug for Warthog.
as you say that, Wartok,
Yep.
you hear a voice say, "To whom are you speaking?"
Whoever did this.
Points to crying
Yeah.
child who you are embracing.
You made a child cry. Are you happy with yourself?
It's not a part of the job I take great joy in. No.
Why do you do it?
Well, am I the only one that hears this?
No, you all do.
Oh, okay.
Well, quit your job. Get a better one.
Good. I guess that's good.
Find one that has benefits.
Nonetheless,
Get health insurance.
I was really set on
Join a
exsanguinating
union.
you.
Especially join a union.
you may
Alright,
still have the
well-
chance.
Well, just yeah, okay.
This, unfortunately, is another part of my job I'm not particularly keen on, but someone needs to do it.
We can talk about this. Oh, is he listening? So I mean, if you're not keen on it, then let's make a deal.
I wish I could, but you've begun the process of proving yourselves worthy.
All right.
So I must welcome you, then. You've made it this far. This is the Aethys
Who are you?
I'm getting there. No, I'm sorry. You've been through a lot.
Well, yeah, that was your fault.
Yes, it was.
All right. I get it.
My name is Travian Ulvar. It is my honor, I suppose, certainly my duty, to prove your worth to enter this place. This, he kind of gestures to the edifice behind him, is the Aethys Invir Secretarium. You have done exceedingly well to come this far. Few have managed to do so. You should be proud of yourselves for making your way through that maze. It is designed to weed out the weak. But you're all here. You're all alive. So then, typically, I would offer you a chance, or a choice rather. Turn back, or stand and fight. You either die, or you are granted passage. There is no middle path, I usually say. May the gods judge you fairly. But you're right. He looks at you, Wartok. I don't like it. We've been here for God knows how long. And in all this time, I've seen maybe a dozen folks get through that maze. And none of them made it past me. It's not a warrior's life I live anymore. I take my axe, and he pulls out this immense great axe with this very, intricately clockwork designed blade.
Yes, queen.
I take my axe to the necks of those who have already been beaten and broken by the challenges that lie within. So, instead, until such time that I think you've recovered, I'll be your guide of sorts instead. Tell me, how much do you know about your world?
Very little. Like, I grew up on a tiny farm.
She knows a lot about, some about another world.
It's not.
We know some. Why do you ask?
Have you heard of the Scouring?
Naturally.
I mean, yeah.
It's not-
Yeah, that's pretty common knowledge.
Okay. It is not natural to us.
Yeah, I suppose you wouldn't know.
As you may have guessed, time does not flow in quite the same way here. It seems to have been millennia since we were cut off from the rest of your world. At the same time, well, Goliaths don't live for millennia. I am as I was the first day. So time seems to be passing both incredibly slowly and not at all. So, you've heard of the Scouring. What do you know of its cause? Heard you of the...
Seals throng with...
Ah. So you know the name of the great evil, the tempestuous one.
Yeah.
How did you come across that name?
It was on
Down the shrouded blade. It was carved into one of his
It's
I don't know,
it's all right.
paintings,
It's all right.
dedications.
Please. I should not be pressing you. I can see. Very well. He kind of he looks a bit at a loss. Forgive me.
He looks a bit what?
At a loss.
Oh.
He looks down and says, forgive me. It has been some time since I've had to deal with people not my own, and even longer since I've had to deal with them in a way that wasn't breaking or killing them. I suppose I should offer you some sort of hospitality. So, come inside, if you would. I'll make up a place for you to sleep. Catch some rest, get you some food. We could talk about this in, well, whatever a day means anymore. There is much that you will learn within the walls of this place if you are deemed worthy. And not all of it will be easy truths to hear. But suffice it to say, we have long been awaiting those who were worthy to hear it. And it seems like you may be that group. So I will do what I can to make your stay here comfortable, in the hopes that we can finally fulfill the oath we made to those 10 heroes so long ago. Come. He kind of gestures you behind him to these great double doors that open up with a wave of his hand. You can see these gears beginning to twist and turn, and as they do, they move a mechanism which kind of pulls the doors apart. They don't creak or whine on their hinges at all, as though they are perfectly oiled, and no rust has ever beset them. Pardon me. One more. Pardon me again. The interior, at least in this first chamber, actually seems to be rather plain. You don't see too much of the crazy like clockwork gears and mechanisms that you've become used to in this setting. It is a broad and deep stone room with tiled floors and sort of clean cut but still sort of irregularly tiled walls. Travian kind of leads you inward, and he counts sort of, there's 5 of you. Very well. And,
Mr. Clanky, that's 6.
oh, does he use a bed?
Oh, no.
I don't either.
That's true. He doesn't sleep. Just go with it, man. Just go with it.
I've certainly seen stranger. He pulls up so he kind of like reaches down into the floor and pulls one of the tiles up, revealing kind of a column that does have that kind of brass clockwork gear system to it. I'm going to find out a different way to say that eventually, but it is not this day. Is Christine's video freaking out for anybody else?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
totally.
Awesome,
Oh,
cool,
yeah.
good.
Oh, she's gone.
There she goes.
GG.
Oh. Let's
Oh, there
fix
she is.
that.
There we go.
Let's fix that.
Yay!
It is fixed.
Breakdancing.
Cool. Well, hopefully it doesn't continue to break dance.
So, he pulls up this dais and he begins kind of shifting a few different. They almost look like what do you call them? The things on an abacus. Sliders. I don't know. Whatever they are.
Beads.
Beads. Sure. Let's go with beads. That's real good.
Your
said.
video broke again.
Yeah. You're.
Oh, it did. Fuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
As you
but
were
it-
waving.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
was
died-
like this, though.
Yeah, like as you were waving, and so like there was this beautiful, like just absolutely great, like breaking of your hand that like it was in like 4 different places at once. It was great. So
Anyway, he's
kind of-
fiddling with stuff.
yeah, he kind of moves these beads around on an abacus and turns a knob, and you kind of hear the whirring of gears underneath, and what sounds like these immense sort of like wheels underneath of you kind of sliding along a track and clicking into place, and then you see the floor kind of open up in 4 different spots, and beds arise, and then a wall on 3 sides of it with a small doorway in one of them. This sort of modular room just appears by degrees in front of you, and Travian gestures and says, please, rest yourselves a while. Take all the time you need. If my estimations are correct, based on how often people get through the maze and what they tell me, time moves much, much slower in here than it does out there. So, or faster? I don't know. Which, if you're in this frame of reference, I guess it would move slow.
Time is hard.
Not much time will have passed by the time you get out.
Yes, that is the case. I'm trying to figure out how he would. I think it is that it would move slower in here. So by the time you leave, very little time will have passed.
You cut out what?
What Nick said.
Okay. So,
Hell yeah.
so while we're in here, it feels like time's passed normal, but once we get out, no time has passed actually.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
How long has it been since the scouring?
327 years?
That's out of character. Yes.
Nice.
Hey, gold star.
Passed your math check.
I see. It has felt more like 3 millennia in here. So
Okay.
perhaps about a tenth of the time that passes in here will have passed outside.
This is very confusing.
Don't worry too much about it. You'll figure it out when you get out. For now, rest. Do you have any preferences as far as food goes? We can prepare a wide range.
You have
though.
rations.
Very well. Well, I'll leave you to it. And he walks away, leaving you all to your own devices within this small little room that he put together for you.
I'm gonna stick close to Kiana in case any more walls or like floors drop out or anything like.
Sure.
And because small child sad.
Mm-hmm.
Guyana Protection Squad.
So it is about nighttime, and it is about the like y'all are starting to feel tired, like it is about time to bed down for the day. Sorry.
Okay.
Is that what you all would like to do, or is there, it's up to you.
Can I do a thing first?
Sure.
Can I pull out Atarax and cast Calm Emotions on myself to help me sleep?
You can, yes.
I
Sweet.
need therapy.
I need some like express therapy, like to go.
Yeah.
I need it to go.
See, Jeff, you pull out the sleepy time peppermint and cast it on yourself.
As I see, do we know that he's casting Calm Emotion? Do we see that?
It is vaguely
Obvious.
noticeable.
Okay. I want to just kind of wave Jeff's attention and put Kiana.
I'll shuffle next to Kiana so that she's in.
Okay.
You have to make a charisma saving throw that you can choose to fail if you want.
Sure. Hey, guess what? It didn't matter. I got a 1.
All right. Well,
It's
you're
so
calm.
freaking
You're calmer now, whether you want to be.
Stay calm.
Drink the tea. Just drink the tea, dog.
You feel the warmth of the spell wash over you, and your tears kind of dry up a little bit. You are calmer. It's a little bit easier to process now. I'd like all of you to make perception checks.
Make what?
Perception.
Wait, so I rolled twice. Does Clanky get a roll?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Clanky got a nat 20.
Nice.
Jeff got a 19. Shader got a dirty 20.
Okay.
I got 11.
Nice.
I'm not rolling good today, you guys.
You're just sad. It's
distressed,
okay.
Yeah.
23.
All right. Actually, I don't know if Clanky would get a roll. Can Clanky hear?
I think, yeah,
He has eyes, don't he?
Yes, he do.
it understands languages.
Okay, then yeah, I can hear.
Okay.
So then Jeff and Shadra and everyone but Kiana and Mortok.
Yeah, that's fair.
You hear what sounds like hushed but not well argument coming from a ways away. It sounds like Travian. And so these are both like Goliath, and so quiet is not their strong suit, and so like you can hear them kind of trying to whisper, but it basically sounds like a stage whisper, like they're really projecting their voices even though they're trying to be quiet. You can hear Travian speaking with another voice that you do not recognize. The other voice seems to be angry with him, and it says, huh, why? Why did you just let them in? You're supposed to try and kill them or die yourself. That is the law. And you hear Travian say, I can't keep doing this. Okay, they proved their worth by going through the maze that I made. Okay, it's not up to me to die or choose whether or not they can come in. It's just It's all devised by us anyway. Why can't we choose or change it? Makes no sense. And the other voices, we all made an oath when this began. Do you want to anger him? No, but you didn't see them. You haven't seen all of them. Every single person that comes out of that maze with their souls broken behind their eyes. That is exactly what we are supposed to be trying to prevent. Whatever. They're here now. Doesn't matter. Do what you told them that you would. Be their guide if it suits you. No one else is going to be so light. We have a duty to perform. We may all die in the process. That is our destiny. We're supposed to. The fact that we're still alive is an affront. You hear steps recede. And then, a few moments later, pacing. One of them seems to have stayed behind and is just walking back and forth. All right. What y'all
We should
doing?
make sure to. We should. I'm gonna whisper to Ilya and Shadra. We should make sure to keep a watch tonight.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Who's taking first watch?
Jeff will, I suppose, with Warthog.
And Wartalk. All right. Both of you roll
Because
perception.
Warthog always takes watch.
I am the watchman.
Warthog is the watch.
But who watches the
I am
watchman?
all-seeing eye.
No one.
Alright.
I'm just gonna curl up in a ball and try and sleep.
Yep.
I got
Yeah,
your
you
watch,
sleep.
small child.
You sleep the whole time. Go.
I,
Nap.
I can only sleep 4 hours at a time.
Just
That's not
oversleep.
true.
It's what depression does.
Well, yeah, that's
You don't.
what
It's
she
not the
said.
case that you can't sleep more than 4 hours. It's that you don't have to in order to get a long rest. You can sleep as long as you want.
Get some rest, tall child.
Well, I'd probably do this just like in real life. I deserve a full 8 hours of sleep tonight. But I do enjoy our midnight chat. So we'll see.
That's
Jeff rolled a 24 on his perception check.
All right. Well, Jeff watches the Watchman for sure.
yeah. I got a 19, so yeah, he's watching.
Okay. You hear that pacing throughout the entire first watch. It does not
I do too.
go away. Yep, both of you.
It doesn't go away. You said.
Correct. It's there the whole time. You don't hear any more conversation, but the pacing never goes. That's all.
Is it just like around a corner? How close does it sound?
50 or 60 feet off, maybe.
But around a corner, so we can't see.
So you're kind of, the room is enclosed, so you could maybe peek out the door and see if you could see.
That's on you, buddy. I clank.
Oh, he's thinking about it.
No, I stay there.
Okay. Watch number dos.
Before Jeff goes to bed, I'm gonna tell Warthog, stay vigilant tonight. I don't know if we can fully trust these people.
Oh, I don't. Not even a little bit.
Well,
I
that's
don't
step
trust,
one done.
trust them as far as I can throw them, and I'm not good at throwing things.
That is true. Anyway, have a good night.
You get some rest. We're gonna need it. It looks like.
Yes, we are. All right, Jeff goes to bed.
Okay. Who's taking second, Shadra or Ilya?
Ilya will. I guess Shadra will go third.
Okay.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right.
15. All right.
So around 1 a.m., what would
Ish.
be 1 a.m.?
Or so you think.
Yeah. the pacing does recede. You hear the footsteps just. They go off into the distance, so you cannot hear them any longer.
That's right.
All is silent. Too silent.
Dun, dun, dun.
But like, just 'cause like it's just weird. Like you're in like a swirling orb of wind, and like you can't really hear that because the walls are thick and like well insulated. But like you were kind of in it for the whole previous day, and so you were used to like this lot of white noise, and now it's just like really quiet.
That's fair.
The monotony is interrupted around the end of the watch as you hear another set of those gears turning and something clanking off in the distance. But it sounds like it's quite far away.
Okay.
Third watch.
But before that watch ends, that was Ely, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's me.
So did you get any sort of weird vision? You seemed to come out of that in not too bad a shape.
I did have a vision, but I don't know. I just could tell that even if it did turn out to be true, I would fight through it.
Okay.
I'm not the type to give up on these sorts of things.
It's good.
How about you? How are you faring?
Oh, I'm pissed.
Rightly so, I imagine.
Yeah. No. I don't like them messing with my friends. We're gonna see how this goes.
Well, if you need help with punching someone in the face, you've got me.
Sounds good.
There are plenty of people here who can punch people in the face.
Jeff, you're
Jeff
asleep.
wakes up suddenly.
Sorry.
Sits up.
Sorry.
Does someone need punching?
That was out of character. Well, like, we got Elena, we got Mr. Clanky, we got Jeff.
Where's the statue? I'll fucking deck it.
I'll donkey kink it. Let's go.
Let me at him. Let me at him. Just point me to the
guys do the-
statue.
You guys do the punching. I got the kicks.
This is great because there's Jeff and statues, and then in the other group, the monk character just cannot do doors. It's beautiful.
Good.
All right. So, anything else you want to
do?
do?
Doors. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. After Jeff pops awake and falls back asleep, do you all continue your conversation?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Just I mean, yeah, we're all gonna punch things, but especially as of late, Can is off, so help her where you
I'm worried for
can. We'll get through it.
that.
We have so far.
Fair enough.
Ain't a siege we can't break. Yeah.
How did all of you come across that nickname, by the way?
There was a town. It was under siege, and then you know Atarax. There was like some glowing, and then the siege was kind of like gone.
So you broke it.
Yeah, we broke the siege. Yeah, we broke.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, we didn't pick the name, by the way. It just kind of happened.
Naturally.
Yeah. That's where we're at. Now you're a Siegebreaker too, so you haven't broken any sieges yet, so you gotta step that up, but you'll get there.
Next siege.
Yeah.
Job
Me and
requirements. Please break at least one siege. One siege's experience in
6 years of breaking.
position entry level.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have very strict and stringent hiring requirements. You can't just be any old hero. You have to be a Siegebreaker. It's in the name.
Consider me
Also,
an
how-
intern.
Also, our
Alright,
health insurance policy is terrible because, like, please reread your job.
Yeah, the health insurance policy is great. We have a cleric now.
Oh yeah, that's true. It has gotten better after the union stepped in.
Well, we're doing what we can.
Union of
Jeff.
Torm.
For the last time,
The
go
union
back
of
to
Torm.
sleep.
Alright, Jeff snores really loud and in the shape of words.
Yeah.
Jeff talk in his sleep. Is that what this is?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I like it.
he can, yeah. Talks in his
That's-
sleep. I
that's
think his
full-on
third eye
conversation.
probably looks at us in his sleep at this point. I don't.
Yeah, not a fan of that.
Oh, it totally doesn't close at all.
Okay. I'm gonna
I
put. I didn't
hate
know that
that.
actually. I'm gonna
Thanks, I
take
hate
a
it.
little piece of cloth and put it over his
Okay,
head.
yep, yeah.
Yes, like a bird.
There we go.
Alright,
Yeah.
yep.
I hate that, Matt. I
Yeah, thanks,
really
I
hate
hate
that.
You're welcome.
So anyway,
I thought I'd mentioned that the last time. I'm really sorry.
No.
Oh no.
No.
I was going to, but Warthog kept him up all night.
Yeah.
So there was never a time when he fell asleep for me to go, yeah, but his third eye isn't asleep.
Okay,
Yeah, so we had our standoff.
we're putting a sleep mask over him for the next like 2-3 weeks. We're
Yeah.
not seeing that shit.
I got yeah.
Birdcage ever.
Yeah. Like when I put my boys
It's
to
Yeah.
time now.
I can't wait to see
yeah.
my birds again.
So, watch number 3.
Alright, Shade needs to roll perception.
I was actually gonna wake up, dude.
Oh, well, sorry. Go ahead.
Step off! This is my
I mean-
turn!
Y'all can all take watch. You can have 3 people.
Okay, well, Shadra got natural 1, so please do wake up.
Shadra passes out.
She's just too
15.
tired.
I'm not
16.
rolling very well.
How'd
What
you
did
do on
Warthog
that
get?
watch, Warthog?
16.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to go quietly.
Shadra passes out again.
Oh.
Yeah, within that one, Shadra, like, she just beat. She falls
She
asleep
never
after
even
like
woke up.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
She's just like, yeah, got it, and then just snoring.
Yep.
Just take your rest, Shadra. It's fine.
Meanwhile, I'm like wiping the sleepies out of my eyes, and I just look at Shadra, and I'm like, huh.
You're like, tag out.
You see that Jeff has a cloth over his face?
That's been that way for weeks, honey. We're retconning that shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
If that eye was open that whole time,
okay.
it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff is loudly bellowing, and I'm just like, huh. Okay.
Occasionally saying full sentences underneath his cough.
Yeah.
How are you holding up, Ken?
I've been better.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
What did you see?
Oh, just everyone I've cared about, kind of like dead, basically. Just normal things, I guess.
Oof.
I could.
We get an F
Something
in the
about it, I
chat?
knew it wasn't right. So it just made me angry.
Yeah, this is some of the angriest I've seen you in a while. And before that, it was when we were trying to get back Shadra.
Yeah. Me too.
You care a lot. You really do.
Don't tell anyone.
Your secret's safe with me.
Good.
I mean, what?
And Clanky.
Clunk, 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 clunk.
It's okay, Clanky can't talk.
I
He knows.
give Clanky a pat on the shoulder.
He kind of like nuzzles into it.
Aww.
Aww.
My heart.
he can like a puppy. He can tell you're sad, and so he just kind of like
Yeah.
nuzzles up and like it's okay.
Oh my fucking god, my heart.
Good
This is the
click.
most adorable robot I've ever
Click.
seen.
I mean, y'all made a pet out of a shield guardian. Like that just had to happen. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Yeah. I should tell you what I actually saw.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, wasn't much. But it was, two people by a hearth, conversing. Couldn't really hear anything that they were saying. Couldn't hear anything, actually. Couldn't hear anything from the surroundings. Just saw their mouths moving. When I would try and walk around to see their face, the room would keep shifting. I could never get a glimpse at them straight on. When I when I tried to brute force my way to it, it just blocked me, and I saw, I guess, Solomon in the glass, the wall, and just these shadowy figures that, like, they were on the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't tell who they really were. And just this overwhelming feeling of loneliness, that I don't belong, that I'm not gonna find the love that I truly want.
That's just stupid. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, it was really rude. It's really rude. It's pretty
You-
dumb.
You've got us. We're here for you. You will find what you're looking for. I'm not sure about much, but I'm pretty certain of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll help you through it. Don't you worry.
You're always such a huge relief. Just, you always have the right thing to say.
Mhm.
Just gotta live my best life, right?
Yeah. That's all we can do. All we can do.
As the conversation you two are having kind of comes to this low point and it kind of dies off. Kayana, you hear a fluttering, almost of wings. As
What
you
the fuck?
turn about, you see
What? What's happening?
two
What the fuck?
long wings furled over a humanoid body. And they unfurl and turn, and you see that same figure that appeared to you before.
Okay, real quick, can Warthog see this right
Yeah.
now?
He absolutely can.
Okay.
Unlike to your previous vision, there is no strange ethereal presence. This is solid. You can see the body before you.
What do you want?
The wings kind of unfold
You're here.
as the sort of sublimely beautiful androgynous form, turns and says, "It's nice to be able to move my wings a bit." She looks dead in your eyes, Kayana, and says, "I suppose I owe you some answers, don't I?"
You cut out, sorry.
Yeah.
She looks you straight in the eye, Kayana, and says, "I suppose I owe you some answers, don't I? And that is where we will end tonight's session.
BionD! No! Do not do
Yep.
me like that!
Sorry.
Matthew!
It's our quitting time.
No!
Jeff Stars.
Not like that! You can't!
I have to.
Excellent.
Ah!
Yes, excellent.
Fuck you.
All according to plan.
Oh, according
man.
to Pikachu.
Mm.